Yes, so we're going to try and churn through 4 chapters this time. That way we can focus entirely on the big one next time.
Oh, it's a magical one. It's very it's. Woo! If you think his understanding of economics is bad, wait till you see his battlefield tactics.
It puts the fight at Winterfell to shame.
If there aren't bugs crawling around, I don't know if I like it. I want them to focus on the bugs crawl.
Alright, so, what do you remember of chapters 5, 6, and 7? Summarize those real quick.
Not at all, not at all. Well, I suppose they were about a bear. Which one was that, though? Was that...
That was chapter 7.
Before that, though... What was before that? I think I remember we had a Alegord chapter.
So that was chapter 5.
Yes. He beat some people up and then had a good old time with his coward
that he murdered.
After that, what happened? What was chapter 6?
Well, the ones that Alegord fought were drunken mimes complaining that the Galat family was personally and solely responsible for them being posted to that castle. And so they fought Alegord, and Alegord immediately disposed of them, which made Henry angry. So he sent them over to a nearby town to collect some supplies. When Alegord immediately figured out that Henry was planning to assassinate Alegord. So he and the coward joined sides and killed the drunken mimes. And then after they defeated the drunken mimes, Alegord murdered the coward and made his way back to the castle. I felt like I felt like those details needed to be remembered.
It was a rather simple one. Alegord kicking ass.
So chapter 6 had the focus of Korg.
Is that where it started?
Chapter 6?
Yeah.
Well, chapter 6 and 7 both follow Korg.
Okay, so that's the whole bear situation.
The bear was chapter 7. Chapter 6 was just him and Askeladd talking.
Oh, it was just the whole chapter them talking?
They were discussing the Pope and how the title of Pope goes down to the Pope's sons, but the Pope is supposed to refrain from sex.
Exactly. So then the peasants interrupted them, or was that in 7?
Yeah, that was in the start of chapter 7.
Well, that was a long conversation between the two that I very vaguely don't remember. Or maybe it wasn't that long. Just discussed the Pope. And
more or less, it was about Korg basically explaining that Askeladd is just a womanizer and doesn't really focus on getting married or, having a family or anything like that. He just kind of has sex with the women that work around their house, and then they immediately leave afterwards.
Yeah, of their own free will. Okay, then 8 was the bear.
Chapter 7 was the bear.
7 was the bear, yes. Where they came and the peasants interrupted them, and boy howdy, old Askeladd was not having it. And the magnanimous Korg listened to their troubles, talked about how their family went on a hunting trip with a guest, and the guest died, so they almost got in trouble, so they never went hunting again for 2 years or 3 years or something around there. And so, now that there's a bear, he wants to go hunting again because there's nobody else to kill it. Even though it turns out it was kind of just a regular bear, or maybe a scarred bear. I don't know. It was kind of bigger than normal. But Korg killed it pretty easy, so he's a pretty big monster. They went to the village told them about it, they said they'd take care of it, and Korg went and killed it. It's like a couple hits.
Yes. I believe 2 hits. The first one missed, I think.
Maybe. Glance would blow. And so, he brought the head back and threw it at the village guy. Might have been the chief. I don't know. He threw
You
it
have
at
forgotten the first and only mention of Gavin.
No, yes, Gavin came out of the woodwork. He must have been waiting for them in the forest. And then disappeared again.
Yes.
Korg said, that Gavin, he came, he needed to interact with him, but once that Gavin was having none of it. Also, I think Korg believed that he was Askeladd a few times throughout those 2 chapters.
Yeah, I believe that was mainly in chapter 6.
No, it happened in 7.
It happened in 7 too?
Yeah, it was like once in 6, once in 7. That's hilarious.
And
then there was the pregnancy, which was finished. It was done.
Yes.
The mother had a child, but didn't yet.
Which is when we also discovered Scotland.
What was it? Gavin Scolad, Scotland? Is that the triple threat?
I believe so.
And that's where it ended.
So we are now at chapter 8, New Addition to the Family. The focus of this chapter is Eileen, the wife of Galahad and the mother of Askeladd, Korg, and not Galagard.
I can barely keep track of what the people we do know are doing. But let's introduce another new one and see how it goes.
All right. It was the 8th hour of the day, and she was due for labor. She had undergone labor 4 different times now, giving birth to 4 children of Galahad. However, each time proved more troublesome than the last. Do you think she'll make it? A maid said quietly behind the door of her chambers. Shush! You must not say such things. What if she hears you? Another maid said worriedly.
Then you can just leave. Like what happened? You get molested and you're allowed to leave.
But it was only last month that we heard of Terran's Lord Wife's fate. She died birthing his second son.
What does that have to do with anything? Does that mean, is this a curse? Is it a plague?
Do you think so lowly of our mistress now? She has given birth to 3 strong children already. She can give birth to another strong one. The mistress suddenly cries for help as she summons her 2 maids. They come rushing into her chambers almost instantly. What a mess, they thought as they glance at her nice luxury sheets dripping in blood. The maids quickly assisted her as she gave birth. One quickly got water for the mistress, while another helped her push. Gently now, my mistress, as she holds her hands out to grab the baby. First came the legs, then the rest.
Oh, man.
Oof, that's a difficult one. You don't want them feet first.
That baby is in trouble.
Yeah.
It does happen. It does happen like that. I think they have to turn it around maybe, but I don't know. I'm not a damn doctor.
I mean, it does happen. It's not a good thing to happen.
She seems to be doing fine, though, apparently. Maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of blood.
What of the child? Is the child born strong like the rest? Eileen asks, exhausted. How would you know?
I guess it's out already.
What is the defining trait of a born strong child?
You gotta arm wrestle it and find out.
The maid waited for a moment to see of the child's condition. The child did not say anything and then suddenly let out a cry. Yes, the child is healthy, and there's more. Spelled theirs, Theirs. Whose? Whose more?
I was looking for it. There it is.
Yeah, that annoys me. She said, relieved. There's more. It's right there. It's literally the next dialogue prompt.
First one was saying it's more. It belongs to the Galahad family more now.
There's more, Eileen asks. Yes, as she glances down at the child. It's a girl, my mistress, the first girl of the house. A girl, she asks, stunned and shocked. May I see her?
She shot that baby out in like 2 seconds.
But of course, she hands Eileen her child. But what of you? You look thin.
Well, she's gonna die.
Now, I'm not an expert, but I don't think you go from baby belly to anorexic looking over the course of that.
Did you see how quick that happened? I think everything is happening pretty quick here.
It was just a full-on disembowelment. There's nothing left inside of her. I am fine, you need not worry. Most importantly, you must let my kin and lords know that the child is born and my chambers are now open. As you wish, my lady. She hurries off to gather the rest of the family as the other maid takes the child and bathes her in water, cleaning the blood off. She then turns to wrap the baby in a cloth bearing the mark of the family crest, the lion. Off in the training room, young Gale is practicing his swordsmanship. He takes a wooden stick-like sword from one of the Wait. A stick-like sword?
Huh. That is
Just a branch.
that's not the best weapon to train with.
So just a stick.
Yeah, basically.
I'd understand if it was a sword-like stick, but it's a stick-like sword. That's a little
Well, I mean, if it
strange.
was like a wooden training weapon, yeah, but you wouldn't describe it as stick-like.
No, that's a very thin, flimsy training sword. I didn't know Gale existed. I forgot about him. I don't know how many times they've mentioned all the family.
I think it was just once when Alegord was approaching the castle.
I'm getting used to him though. We got Askeladd, Korg, and Gale now, and there's a newborn baby girl. Oh yeah, and Gallagher. Okay, that's all of them. That's the fifth.
Yes. Wait.
Hmm?
No.
No?
Because she's
What
done
have
it
you?
4 times.
Yeah, that was. Oh wait, you're right. She didn't give birth to
Yeah.
Gallagher. Miscarriage. But then you would really say she'd done it. It was a mystery child.
He dawns on a poor stance and could barely hold his blade as his hands shake a bit.
He better take that stance right back off.
Askeladd chuckles on the bench stool at Gale's posture.
Bench stool?
At Gale's posture.
Wait. Well, yeah, I guess he's chuckling at Gale's posture, but bench stool. I guess it's like a couple of stools fused together to make a bench.
I guess? You must focus now, Gale. You must not let your guard down. Remember, the most important trait in swordplay is your stance. You must not shake, you must remain firm and hold a tight grip on your blade, Scalborg said. Now prepare to strike me as hard and swift as you can. Gale hesitates and remains in the same spot as Scalborg quickly gets a hit on his side.
Oh, that boy ain't listening.
Ah, Gale said as he let out a cry of pain. Must you hit me? I was getting ready, Mr. Scalborg.
We're seeing the darker side of Scalborg come out.
He's just beating a child. Indeed, you must learn to keep your guard up, young master. After all, you cannot wait for one to attack you. If you do, surely be at a disadvantage in fighting.
Huh, this sounds vaguely familiar, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just an all-out frenzy, huh?
It is said that those who strike... It is said that those who strike first in a fight can dictate the outcome of a battle.
Possibly, if they're better.
Is that a thing? That doesn't sound like a thing.
If they're better than the other guy, I suppose. Otherwise, now they're going to get blocked.
I mean, if the strike is to the Achilles, yeah.
If they don't get blocked or parried or dodged.
This is stupid. Messing around with wooden sticks for what? It's not like I need them anyways. What am I to do with a stick? Gale said, frustrated as he thrust his wooden blade off to the distance.
He just thrusted it and it went flying.
Stick or not, you must learn to fight properly for the time of your coming when you are old enough and deemed worthy enough to lead and fight, Scalborg replied. Fight? Fight for what? Sorry, there's no comma there. Let me redo that. Fight for what isn't that why we have men and sefts for?
Oh, okay. Let me just chime in.
Seth.
I'm going to go ahead and chime in real quick. I know where this is from. So, you know how Dominic likes to rip off Berserk?
You know how you keep saying his name?
Oh, yeah. Dominique is transgender. So, yeah, that's where he got this from.
Seth is from Berserk.
Sefts are in Berserk?
Yeah. Or not Seth, but the whole training thing. Yeah, it's eerily similar. I don't even know what a theft is.
No. It's a surf, I guess. But just
oh, okay. Now I got it.
a
Oh,
really weird way of saying it. Maybe it is actually a name from back then. He does do random research. We found out about certain parts of castles like the Bailey. Maybe Seft is a proper medieval term.
Why should I fight when they're men who are paid to do so?
what?
Again, using THEIR in that.
Well, there's no subject for that one. I can't twist that to mean anything.
Does he mean mercenaries?
I don't know, because
They're
normally,
nobles.
like, people who defend land are usually, like, called upon.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they've got guards. They've got Skolad. I'm sure he's paid, maybe.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, guards and, like, stuff like that.
But defend him against
Obviously,
a fight against
but-
what? Obviously, Skolad's saying like he's gonna have to fight one day, but apparently he thinks he isn't going to have to. I don't know.
Young master, I think you are quite misled. Do you think your father would think this way? No. The men your father leads do not simply follow him because they paid to. They paid to follow him.
That's how he gets so rich.
No, the men your father leads do not simply follow him because they paid to. They do so because he fights alongside them. He leads them into battle headstrong.
Well, I'd pay him too if he went in front of me.
If you desire to be anything like your father, then you should start by improving your swordplay. Father seems brave, but I cannot do what he can, Gale said. Askeladd stands up, approaching young Gale. He turns his head towards Skolad. Perhaps let me try teaching him, Skolad. Hand me your wooden stick. Askeladd thought.
No, get Scotland or Gavin. Don't let Askeladd.
Askeladd dons a rather simple stance. He holds his wooden blade firm.
What?
Pick up the blade, Gale, he said, glaring at his weapon. I don't want to, Gale pleads.
Oh yeah, teach that little fucker. Teach him, Askeladd.
I truly apologize if you thought I was giving you a choice. It is not. Don your blade and your stance once again. If not, I'll strike first, and trust me, you wouldn't like that, Askeladd said in a stern voice.
Don your blade. Oh.
Gale picks up his blade, but couldn't hold firm on it, as his body starts to shake. Let's begin, shall we? Askeladd smirked. Askeladd moved swiftly and steadily, quickly knocking Gale's blade out of hand. Gale let out a sigh as he rubbed his hand from the pain. Askeladd then got another hit in, striking Gale's right shoulder. Gale falls down, starting to whimper from the pain. Done already, are you, Gale? You must get up, he said, pointing the blade at him. Skolad quickly grabs Askeladd hand before he hits Gale again.
He got cut off.
Easy now, you've done enough now, he said with a hint of anger in his eyes. Whatever do you mean? I am merely trying to help my little brother. Is that so awful?
Keep beating him. Go, Ascalon.
He's only a boy. You shouldn't be so harsh. Harsh, you say? Askeladd smirked. Yes, you're right. I should go easy on him so he can turn into a half-knight like you, only to be better by his brother who achieves only the highest. Sorry.
What?
Wait.
Oh, Scolad's brother
Rewind.
Scotland.
Yes, you're right. I should go easy on him so he can turn into a half-knight like you, only to be better by his brother who achieves only the highest honor possible, such as becoming the king's knight. Isn't that so?
What the hell is a half-knight?
What is a half-knight?
Oh, that's an insult. That's what that is.
A squire?
Scolad's getting it dirty. Askeladd's just straight slapping on him.
Scoladd eyes start to lit up as he starts to say something but is interrupted by Gale. It's okay, I'm fine, he said, trying to put on a brave face. However, a young maid quickly enters the training room. Yes, what of you? Hurry now, do speak, Scoladd asks, turning to the maid for a response. It is the lady. Her chambers are now open and she is ready to show the newborn.
He just turned on a dime.
I see. That is good news indeed. You shall escort young Gale upwards, and I'll go gather Korg from the yard.
He's just in the yard.
He's just
staring off into the distance.
And what of the Lord? The maid asked. You see, the Lord had traveled to the city of the king for a meeting, Scoladd answered firmly.
No.
Did he?
Last chapter he was back already.
Yes. No.
No. That afternoon nap was a big part.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude.
He did not want to wake him up from that afternoon nap.
I forgot about the fucking nap.
It just popped in my head. I was like, wait a second, that afternoon nap.
Ah.
Well, he is off again, so maybe he just came back, took a nap, and then went back to see the king again.
He made it about, like, half an hour away from his house, and he just decided that his afternoon nap was more important.
Wait a second. Wimbledon, we must return. What is it, sire? I feel sleepy.
I see. How unfortunate. I'm sure the mistress will be saddened by this. I shall go take Gale to her at once, while you seek out the other two. She looks at Gale, signaling him to come. Come on now, you must not let your mother wait on you.
Wait, what's that other
soon
two?
Follows them.
Is there another child?
So, at least what we know right now, there is Askeladd and Korg.
But
so
Askeladd is taking Gale, and he said you're going to go find the other two.
The maid is going to take Gale.
How old is Gale?
But then it's immediately disregarded because Askeladd follows them. So Scoladd just has to get one anyway.
Okay. It's just so confusing. Gale sounds like he's 10.
Probably.
I think Gale's...
Maybe 12. Maybe 14.
12 or something?
12, probably.
Aren't there two Gales?
Maybe. Scoladd heads outside past the hedge maze and down the sidewalk where the backfields lay.
The sidewalk! The sidewalk.
They are slightly advanced in certain ways.
So they have a fucking hedge maze. They have a sidewalk. And they just have some unknown location called the backfields.
Oh my...
We have no clue what any of this positioned like looks like. Anything.
No.
Holy moly.
He sees Korg standing tall on the field, looking off.
Who's doing a Korg stand out there? He is looking off into the distance. I made that joke. He actually is. I was like, he's out there just looking off into the distance. He is.
He sees Korg standing tall on the fields, looking off into the distance. I suppose you came to summon a Skolad? Askalad inquiry?
Oh my, what? Now Askalad is just... He followed Skolad out there and his Alzheimer's...
No, he followed the maid and Gale.
No, he ran back after him, and now his Alzheimer's kicked in and he forgot. He forgot any of this morning happened. Either that, or he's got a twin, or something. There's two of them. Something's going on here. I like to attribute it all to the Galahad family.
The dementia.
Yeah.
Just the family dementia.
I don't know if it's caught on to Skolad, but somebody's got some brain stuff going on.
Indeed, your mother has finally given birth. And of her mother, is she well? Korg asked. I do not know.
Oh,
I have yet to...
You gotta check in on her mother.
I do not know. I have yet to see, but I am sure she is fine. After all, she has given birth to 4 children now. That is a feat quite uncommon. I am sure she is well after all, she is stronger than most.
I don't know. I think that's pretty common back in those days.
Okay, so 1. Whose mother? Second,
no, that's their grandma.
Second, why does anyone need to care that their grandmother gave birth to 4 children?
That this is all about the Galahad family, so so I guess her mother would be a different family. It's not from Galahad. I'm stumped.
Gee.
This is most excellent to hear of. Let us be off then.
Bill and Ted.
What?
It's the most excellent. It's Bill and Ted.
This is most excellent to hear of.
Let us be off then, Korg said. Then let us be off to see her. Upon entering her chambers, Korg noticed how warm the chambers were as the wood burning off to the side was producing quite a large flame.
There's
That is not a good room for a child.
Just burning the room.
This castle's dangerous.
All of them are.
They're just committing arson to their own house.
Just a raging blaze.
Oh, lad. Who set this fire?
I didn't notice that the first time reading.
They're just setting fire to the room.
Apparently,
There's
it's
too
a big
much
one if it's
blood.
that hot.
There's too much blood, and Askalad scared away all the maids.
Oh,
Fuck it, we're just gonna torch it.
Shit, oof. Oof. The author needs a stern talking to.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
Oh.
It's just blood everywhere. And there's bonfires in the room.
They're just setting fire to a portion of the room.
Starting to think there might be more demons around than we thought. More people do that.
The room seems to be kept warm, unlike most of the building.
Oh, God.
No shit.
So it's just so everybody else is just cold.
Pretty sure last chapter they were really hot.
Only the rooms that the family members dwell are allowed to be set on fire.
Woo!
She noticed how unwell she looked in her quite lovely bed. Gale was already next to his mother, cuddling her as she kept him near.
Wow.
He rubs his shoulder a bit as Askeladd gives him a stare.
Oof.
Korg quickly went to the back of the room where he prefer, as he could stand there unnoticed. He stood in the back with his back leaning against the wall.
Not when you're 8 feet tall.
Yeah, that'd be a little difficult.
Everybody's used to him already, just stares. That's his thing.
My lady, how do you do? Scalborg inquiry. I am fine, do not worry about me.
God.
However, I see my sons, but yet my lord has yet to arrive. I am saddened to say he had plans elsewhere. He did not plan on the child being born so soon. I assure you he would be here if he knew of the childbirth.
That's kind of a hard thing to predict.
I assure you he would be here if he knew of the childbirth? He knew she was pregnant. I feel like even in the medieval ages, you could guesstimate like when that would happen.
Yeah.
And he just had his fucking afternoon nap.
Hey.
You think he could stay a day or two?
That one guy died, remember? That one guy. That takes
What
him.
one guy?
That one guy that died, that they had to go see his brother to look at the dead body. That takes precedent over everything.
But
just
that one guy.
Eileen was a bit saddened by her missing lord, but started to smile as she saw all of her children gather in one spot. It had been nearly 5 months of isolation since she last saw them.
That's not all of them, but technically I guess it is.
She's pregnant. She doesn't.
Why are you isolated?
Yeah.
Also, yeah, what the hell? Well, pregnancy is treated as a disease now, to be quarantined.
After all, she had to remain alone in her chambers, taken care of by the maids, in order to ensure the child is born strong.
That is generally bad advice. You do not want to isolate a pregnant woman for 5 months.
Why?
The child will not be born at all. The stress of being isolated. Well,
like, why? What possible, like, rumor or superstition would lead to that?
I'm just going to assume...
That's just insane.
I'm just going to assume the author has never met a pregnant woman before.
They all must be isolated.
It's like he took quarantine fucking literally. Like, no, you stay away. Korg thought she looked frail and weak in her bed. Gale was quite happy to see his mother again. Askeladd seemed more interested in the child than his mother. Scalborg stood to stand as a noble knight guarding his lord's household.
What?
So, I feel like you do have to stand to stood.
Why is he all of a sudden guarding his lord's household? What? There's no threat. What?
She holds her child tightly within the palm of her hands.
Oh my god.
That is not... I know I was so quick now. The child just...
The baby's dead. The baby's dead.
Yes.
Oh, man.
She's just squeezing it. A little one who has yet to be named and was born not long ago. You don't fucking say.
Oh,
Go on, you can hold her, Gale. Just be careful with her. You know, just don't act like your mother. Gale hold her close to his chest as carefully as his mother wanted. He moved his hand carefully, patting her head, and comforted her. Why pat the head?
You don't want to do that too much.
Oof. Oh.
Oh. He hands her back off to his mother. Is she really my little sister?
Yeah?
Yes, she is a gift from heaven, she said, smiling, a child born of both her and Lord Galahad. She had the same eyes as her mother, brown eyes of promising potential.
Oh.
I promise to give you everything I can, my sweet baby girl. Whether you want to be a princess or live a life of luxury, I promise to do everything I can to make your dreams come true.
It's just getting a little weird now. He's just focusing on this so strangely.
A princess, Gale thought. How can she be a princess when she's only a baby?
What are you talking about, Gail? Keep your mouth shut and pat your sister.
So first, well, not even first. There's so many fucking terrors in this chapter. Whether you want to be a princess or live a life of luxury.
Princesses be slumming out
I don't
here.
think those aren't mutually exclusive.
Well, apparently they are. Princesses gotta do some hard work. Just
How
like
can she be a princess when she's only a baby?
That's because that's what. Wait, actually, she's not. She's a damn. They're not kings and queens.
No. It is impossible for this child to become a princess.
Unless she marries into royalty, which maybe is what Gail's getting at. But
well, here's the thing: is unless I'm mistaken, that doesn't make you a princess. That would make you like a queen because you'd be married to the new king.
Well,
you can't be.
Like I think there's like a gray area there where while you're engaged to the prince, you're considered the princess. Maybe.
Does it?
Well, maybe only in some cultures, because I don't think it happens that way in England. But also, I'm pretty sure, like, if Prince Charles married a girl before his mother died, he wouldn't be the king yet. So she'd be the princess until the queen or king dies, and then they take over. So I think they can be.
Well, the thing is, I don't think that would work because there's no like completed legal connection.
Well, if they're married, I mean, if they get married.
Well, yeah, once they're married, then she becomes like queen. Would she become princess?
I think so. If the queen or king is still like active, I think they then become a princess. Either way, though, I don't think that's what Gail's getting at, but maybe it is.
No, it is not.
Yeah, I don't. I think they're just trying to pretend they're royalty, maybe, and Gail just doesn't understand.
I guess, but I mean,
like if a king and a queen have a baby, the baby's a princess, even though it's a baby.
Well, even yeah, I mean that's still.
Like it doesn't matter if it's a baby; it's still a princess.
Yeah. It's just a saying, Gale. Don't overthink it. Perhaps I should hit you in the head next, Askeladd said.
Okay.
Gale moves closer to his mom.
Child abuse?
So, yeah. Askeladd, I pray that you have been kind to your younger brother, Eileen said in a low voice.
Oh shit, he's about to get it.
But of course, mother, I am always kind to Gale. I only seek my brother's improvement, Askeladd said. Gale gave him a frown while Korg grunted. The two brothers started bickering among themselves as Korg listened quietly, closing his eyes.
He's the picture of stoicism.
I guess that was part of dialogue. The seventh member of our household. The seventh member of our household, he thought.
Now it's getting confusing again.
Wait, what?
The seventh member of our household.
Okay, no, it makes sense because the mother, father, and the 5 children, if you include Alegord.
Yeah, but they're not.
Korg has a place in his heart for old Alegord.
Korg actually might be because he's the only character that's halfway decent. I'm assuming.
Stop, Eileen said to her 2 sons. If I may inquiry, what is her name? Scalborg asks. You know of the Channelet girl? She quite lovely, isn't? Quite a noble woman.
Oh, she
Too
quite
bad
lovely.
You won't marry her.
Wait, what is this change?
What is this conversation? Hold on. So she's telling Gale and Askeladd to stop bickering. Scaladd's asking what she's naming her new daughter. And then
it just comes out of nowhere. I read the next line. It has nothing to do with it. It just comes out of nowhere.
You know of the Channelet girl. She quite lovely, isn't? Quite a noble woman. Too bad you won't marry her, she said, glaring at Korg. Korg grunted as he continued pressing his leg on the wall.
What? Korg, stop! You're gonna damage it. Stop.
It's on fire. He's just breaking more of the wall for firewood.
He's fucking crushing his leg into the wall.
That's it. I'll name him Giselle.
Okay,
yes, what a lovely name indeed.
See the him? Are you gonna rename Korg?
Giselle smiled and laughed, barely moving as Gale struggles to hold her. Be careful now, Gale. She's quite frail, Eileen said.
Don't pat her on the head, please. She's got a soft spot.
Eileen tries to get up but stumbles back into bed. One of the maids quickly comes to her aid. Are you okay, my lady? Do you need tea or anything? Yes, I'm quite fine, just exhausted, she said. Boys, I do believe it is time to take your leave. Your mother needs some time to rest. After all, giving birth is an exhausting task.
We need to move her to a non-blood-soaked bed.
Non-blood-soaked, not near a burning pile of fucking wood.
Nobody's concerned about the wood fire. Nobody's even looking at it.
This fucking... God damn.
I guess it went out. It already went.
She grabs the baby and hands the newborn to the other maid to take Giselle to her new room.
Also,
the 3
not a
brothers.
very good idea. You don't want to separate them too long now.
No. Although I guess getting away from the fire is a smart move.
Oh, you're right. There's a lot of smoke in there.
The three brothers soon take their leave, but Skolad remains. Askeladd rushes out first as Gale follows him distantly. Korg walks out last, taking a quick look at his new sister. I see the child as well, Skolad said. Eileen replies, I trust you did not stay to say that. Of course, I thought you may have wanted to know of Lord Galat.
Oh, here we go. Let's see what if there's some consistency going on.
And what of my husband? He had urgent business in Jorkarith. There seems to be troubles at the border, and the demons seem to be more active lately. His men alone cannot secure the borders. The other houses barely supply any of their own men up there.
Okay, now I just got more confused because I thought he was having a meeting with the king. It said at the beginning of this chapter.
Yes.
So is Jorkarith the king's place, or is this new information?
This is the first time that town name is used, so we have to go with the idea that that's the name of the capital.
We can try to keep track of it. We'll see if it remains a little bit consistent. Maybe he did come back from his first meeting, and now this is Skolad telling us why he left after his nap.
I also need to note this sentence. The other houses barely supply any of their own men up there. When in chapter 4, I think it was, with Gluttony, Gluttony, or was that 5?
I cannot remember chapters based on
It doesn't matter.
number.
The chapter where they were up in the Demon Lands, and they were confused as to what could possibly be killing people up there.
Yep, and they know it's demons yet again.
Well, now they do, yes. But in that chapter, we saw a pile of men of the Terran castle, or whatever the name of the castle was, and there were 100 bodies there, which means they sent 100 people on a scouting or reconnaissance or expedition out into the Demon Lands. Meanwhile, we have to assume that Fort Clifton is the one full of men for House Galat, and they only sent 3 fuckers out there.
Nope, they're all stationed by Galat. All of the castles up there.
No, I distinctly remember William saying that they were Terran's men or something.
Yeah, I thought so too.
See,
I suppose
you were asking how long it was going to take before the brain damage reached Skolad. Well, we found it.
Okay, they only hire like-minded people. He thought he was
quite aware.
He thought he was
Gavin.
Scotland after that.
I am quite aware of our current circumstances, but what of him meeting with the king? The king is barely a man. He does only what is told of him by his brother. He can hardly be called a king. How often does he throw parties instead of handling matters between any of the royal houses of Maladin? Eileen said.
My.
That may be true, but I heard he had come to call... Sorry, that may be true, but I heard he had come to call a court of all houses, Skolad replied. What did the king come to? He had come.
I suppose it could liberally be translated as, an action. or a you know, a culmination. But even then, it's still such a strange way. That's a good alliteration I heard he had, but you know, come to call a court of all houses. He had arrived at the decision to call a court, but he sort of skipped a few parts there.
I suppose. But the thing is, he just said that may be true. But I heard he had come to call a court of all houses. But the king doesn't know about this shit yet.
Everybody does and doesn't. It's just, I guess humans in this world generally just have brain problems. Maybe the demons cursed them all, or maybe they're all like genetic offspring of the demons that are part human, part demon. Maybe the elves cursed them. Maybe that was one of the nuke spells. Curse all of humanity with brain damage.
It wasn't an actual nuke, it was just giving everyone a lobotomy.
It covers so much in the story. If everybody just had brain damage.
You mean to say he plans on summoning all the 12 houses? It is said to be an impossible task to gather all 12 lords at once.
What? All of them? This one king, all of them? What about the other 3 kings?
After all, the Jarls barely come to any events, while the Terrans are a stubborn lot. And not all of the houses have faith in the crown.
Oh my god.
That may be true, which is why Galahad is personally going to the king to request a royal court. That way, representatives from all houses must come, as it would be a demand from the king himself, and you cannot simply turn down the king, Skolad said.
What does it have to do with Galahad personally going to request a royal court? What does it have to do? If the king wants him there, and you say they can't turn him down, why is Galahad going to request a royal court? It is contradicting.
So, the king can't do it because it is impossible to gather all 12 of them at once. Not to mention these two do jack shit. But
and they don't all
if
have
Galahad goes there and he says, "King, I need you to do this thing that's impossible and that people won't listen to you for," they will listen.
Yeah, because they can't.
Because you can't turn them down, but they will turn him down.
But they can't.
But they can't.
It's just straight up contradiction right there. Galahad empowers him with a buff of being able to now summon them all.
So next up is chapter 9, and I am going to have to take a quick second to fill up a glass of grape business.
More apples.
But I want you to consider this.
No.
You see, this is the next chapter, right? It's chapter 9?
Yes.
Okay, disregard that. It's just the economy, right? But the focus is this man right here.
Oh,
Galahad.
The great Lord Galahad.
Now, how is he here?
Look, you don't understand the intricacies of Skolad. Okay, he can be Gavin, he can be Scotland, and he can be anywhere. That's just Skolad. Or time is just so inconsistent that now this is after the birth of the child Skolad left to be with Galahad.
That can't be.
Just as between the last chapter and this one, the king had his nap and is back with the king. You see, these things happen in between chapters.
That can't happen. You see, because because of the wonderful things he does. Because this would mean that I don't know where my mind was going. Skolad said he was going to stood to stand and keep guard of
He was
the
going
Galat
to
family
stand,
house.
okay, but I'm reading the first little part here, and Galahad knows that the child gave birth and says the children won't leave the castle anytime soon, so he had to have received news, so Skolad came and gave him the news. But they're still not at the capital, so basically he went to the meeting with the king, then he went back for his nap, went to the meeting with the king again, then went back part way to meet with Skolad, and now they're going back to the meeting of the king for the third time, basically.
So what was Galahad doing? Why did he just fuck off?
No, that's what Galahad was doing. That's what I'm saying. He went to the meeting, then went back to take a nap, went to the meeting again, went back part way to meet Skolad, and now they're going to the meeting for a third time. That's what Galahad's doing.
Wouldn't he just stay at the capital then?
He should. Why was he there for the
Wouldn't he just
nap?
tell Skolad to come the fuck over?
Why did they do any of that? He wanted to nap at his home, and he wanted to make it easier on Skolad, so he met him halfway. I'm gonna get some apple juice. It's convoluted. It doesn't make
It's
sense.
fucking terrible.
But he's got the news somehow. He knows that his wife gave birth. Somebody delivered the message at Skolad's there now. It's like things happen in between chapters that do not get explained at all.
All right.
Either that or it's so incredibly inconsistent, which is also just as possible.
But wait. All right, you do whatever you have to do before we start chapter 9. If you need to do anything. Because I want to figure this the fuck out. Let me see. Do any of you need to do anything before we start chapter 9?
I'm good.
No response from him means I'm guessing that he's doing something real quick.
So they're just burning furniture.
Yeah, so they just like set fire to like a corner of the room.
Oh, Arthur. Oh boy.
Yeah, the only real reference to Galahad is that he's just fucking sleeping.
Yeah.
But he can't be fucking sleep. He left, came back to sleep, and then left again? And then waited, I guess, halfway for Skolad to show up.
That makes sense if he waited halfway. That makes even more sense.
That's not stated. That's not stated. That's just an inference.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense. Why the fuck? He had no idea how long Skolad was going to be sitting around over there.
Unless Skolad was
He had no idea.
Skolad's just real quick on his horse. Maybe
Also,
he actually
like, so, okay, hold on. Let me catch up to where we're actually going to be starting again. So.
Such a funny inconsistency. He was there, he wasn't. And now he's on his way to the king, but he was already there 3 chapters ago.
He left the first time. Wait. Okay, someone remember 75 in case I forget.
75. Yeah, after meeting the brother, they went back and he left all the children there and Skolad, and he took Wimbledon with him. and he went to meet with the king about this wounded man. They had their meeting about the wounded man, and it's still that has to do with the demons acting up in the north. So that's what this new meeting is about. So that this has to be like the meeting he's been talking about 3 times now. It has to be about this guy that he found wounded, because that means demons are acting up in the north. So we know there's only this one meeting that needs to take place. But he was supposed to already be there the first time he left after they got back from his brothers. He was supposed to already be having this meeting with the king. But then either the author forgot or Galahad got sleepy, and he came back and took his nap after that, which is just strange, because then they say at the beginning of this last chapter that he's gone having a meeting with the king. Okay, so that's the same meeting. It's got to be the same meeting, because it's the meeting, because Skolad says towards the end of the chapter there, it's about the trouble with the demons in the north, which is what that wounded guy was all about. So that's the same one meeting he was supposed to be having. He was supposed to be having at the beginning of this latest chapter. But then, now, we're finding out at the beginning of this new chapter that he's halfway there. I don't know how far along he is, but he's on the way there to this same one meeting he was supposed to have already had twice now. And Skolad is with him, who was one of the people in the chapter where he said he was already there having a meeting with the king. So this is just like, again, either it happened that weird convoluted way where he came back part way, or didn't make it all the way to the king and waited, or Skolad is super fast and caught up to him, or it is an inconsistency the first time, that in the last chapter where he wasn't supposed to be there taking an afternoon nap. So if we say that's an inconsistency, and strike it off the record. So the king was gone having his meeting. He wasn't there having an afternoon nap. If we retcon it to say that, then even then in this new chapter, Skolad wasn't there with the family, because he was with the king, as we see in this new chapter. That's another retcon we'd have to make for this new inconsistency. And so now this new chapter is taking place in the past, when he first left to go have the meeting. And it's all taking place around the same time that his wife had the child, and his son slayed the bear. But Skolad is like the key to this inconsistent mystery. Because if he was there, it couldn't have happened that way. But if he wasn't, then it could. So really, it's all about Skolad here. We need to figure out if it references where he's been or what he's been doing in this new chapter.
So, 2 things. One, are we confirming that Winbert and Skolad are 2 different people, or is Winbert Skolad some like split personality homunculus?
I'm beginning to think he might be, but I think he could be his own person, because he was referenced a couple of times, wasn't
he? Yes, he was mentioned a couple of times, like near where like the other name is.
Yeah, I'm thinking like they're just 2 separate guards that work for the family, but it would make sense if there was just one main guard that's been referenced this whole time under 4 different names: Wimbert, Skolad, Scotland, and Gavin. It's all just that one guy.
Because it was said they split ways, Galahad and the other 4 men to the city, while Korg, Winbert, and Askeladd home.
Yeah, I did notice that back then. That Wimbert was supposed to stay, but then it went to talking about Skolad after that, like Wimbert didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, so And the thing is, Winbert is mentioned later on in the story as well. So this isn't just like a momentary fuck-up. So either Skolad is a teleporter, like Nightcrawler,
Yeah, that would also
or
make
he does
sense.
have split personality disorder.
Also, I just thought that that new chapter can't be taken in the past because it's after the child is born. So no,
Yes.
my theory was out there. So how the hell do we coincide him leaving right after they got home from talking to his brother to him after the child is born still being on the way to see the king? Like, did the child get born like a day after, and it takes many days to get to the king? I suppose that could work, but Skolad would have to catch up real quick to be there.
Well, the capital's on the other side of the continent.
Okay, so yeah,
That's a journey.
it could possibly be an attempt of the author to make sure it seems like he's taking a while to get there by making it stretch over like 4 or 5 chapters. But he keeps saying he's in different places. It doesn't work.
Additionally, it should be noted that Galahad says, I have had enough of your squabbling. I will be traveling to Iron Dawn to meet with the king.
Oh, another new place.
Okay,
which I do remember that being mentioned before.
So yeah,
however,
that new place he's had urgent business at in the north where the demons are acting at was not the capital, and that he needs help with that place. I guess he didn't have urgent business there. He just had urgent business to talk to the king about there, because that's what that dead guy was all about. Maybe that dead guy showed up from that new region they mentioned, and that's why he's going to the king. It's just.
However, he had urgent business in Jorkarith.
Yeah,
so he's going to talk to the king there.
They couldn't have though. That's the seem to be troubles at the border and the demons.
The thing is, they found the body in Whale Harbor.
Okay.
Now,
so maybe
you would discuss this. I will be right back.
Okay, that is just. There's too much inconsistency now. It's overwhelming.
Oh no, it's amazing.
Because if he has business in Jorkarith, it's about the demons acting up at the border, which is what that dead guy in Whale Harbor presented to them. I'm assuming that's what this whole thing started from. But where is Jorkarith? Is the king there, or is that the border that they're talking about? Or it's got to be where the king is.
That is kind of the thing with his story. I have no idea when something takes place, where it takes place.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing here. Like, I guess I could see. Okay, so Galahad left for the long journey to see the king right when they got back from Whale Harbor. And then all that other stuff happened in between, even though he was also there taking a nap. So that might have been more of Korg and Askalad's dementia acting up when they thought he was there taking a nap. But he's been on the journey the whole time. And then finally, after the child is born, somehow he gets word about it, and Skolad. So there's either a teleporter system, or they have phones to communicate, or some other communication device. And Skolad is also just really fast on a horse and catches up to him on the way there.
Hey, we have tried to figure this out several times, and it just is just impossible.
Well, somebody in this story, not just somebody, multiple people are giving us flawed information here. I'm liking the whole brain damage approach. It fixes some, but then you got to have the whole thing's a mystery of who's actually telling the truth here.
Yeah, he's trying to have like this sense of mystery, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it becomes like we know there's very conflicting information going on here. It's not a mystery if it's obvious that things aren't adding up.
Oh, it is so bad. Oh,
I just gotta figure out this Skolad thing. Hopefully in the new chapter we'll find something out that'll tell us. Because maybe Skolad was never at the house with them and they just thought Wimbert was Skolad. Everybody was calling Wimbert Skolad. He just went with it. Because he knows the Galahad family has some issue. Oh god, that would kind of fix some of the issues. Wimbert was Skolad. The real Skolad was with Galahad the whole time. And how did he receive information of his wife giving birth on the way there? Like, unless he's moving really slowly to the capital, or they have messengers that can just kill a couple horses on the way and get it to them. Maybe that's how he got the information. I don't know. I'm hoping to clear something up in this economy chapter, but the way you guys are talking about it, I don't think it will. I think it's going to be about the economy.
it's so weird.
I have no idea like how you were trying to formulate it when I was gone. But no matter what, it just doesn't. I cannot think of an easy way.
Basically, Wimbert stayed behind, and everybody thought he was Skolad, so he just went with it. Skolad was really with the Galahad the whole time.
Yeah, but how would Skolad know about all of this shit?
And how would Galahad know about the childbirth if he's already on the way to the capital? That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Either he had a runner that was faster than all of them and could, like I said, kill a couple horses on the way and give them that message. Or
horses.
They've got phones because they've got sidewalks and other random future inventions. I don't think we're going to find out this chapter. But either way, it still would be inconsistent because of that afternoon nap. That nap is on. Like I had said, maybe everybody, or maybe Korg and Ascalad were just having a dementia moment and thought their father was taking a nap, but he wasn't. So they were like really scared of having him getting woken up. But
well, how long was he having his afternoon nap? Because they traveled over to this town, which wasn't very far. At least I don't think it was. And they go and fight this bear. And during that time, I guess
they never actually talk to him. So they never go back and talk to the dad. So he was just a hallucination the whole
time. Well, if we go with the idea that he's not a hallucination, and Skolad is Scotland, is Wimbert.
Well, the Wimbert thing, I'm not so sure, but we'll find it maybe.
Well, what I mean is, if we conclude that Scotland and Skolad in that chapter are a reference to the same person, whether the name is correct or not, how the fuck did he know that the lady has Finnish lady labor and didn't tell them until after they killed the bear? That means that she have to have finished or gone into labor before they left.
Oh, maybe. Hey, that's where Gavin came from. Gavin was a messenger from the Galahad household, telling Skolad in secret that she went into labor, and then he told them, and Gavin went back to the household. That's why he comes in, and he's referenced once, and he's gone. We have to make this shit up because it doesn't work otherwise. Oh god! But yeah, no. If he was there taking a nap while she went into labor, he would not leave to go on the journey.
No.
So, like,
Although I guess that would make sense why they're talking about it on the trip. They heard that she went into labor. They just bolt the fuck out of there.
So he came back to take a nap. Heard she was going to labor. I gotta get the hell out of here. And took off with Skolad. But Skolad was still there. Oh Lord.
Are we ready to start talking about the economy?
Maybe. I don't see how we're going to get through 4 chapters, but I definitely want to get through this.
This one's a long one, and then one of these 4 is like a page long. It's not very long at all.
Okay.
We're going to try to get through it, because chapter 12 it's a doozy. That one just needs all of the time just for itself.
Well, I'm ready for that one. That's the boss battle coming up in the distance.
Yeah, it is.
You may do the honors.
Chapter 9, The Economy. Lord Galahad was on horseback. Skolad and some 5 other men accompanied him.
5 others.
He does just shoot random other numbers of men. 4 most of the time, but now we see a 5.
They were on their way to the capital. I don't know if my children, if they'll ever leave the castle anytime soon. Since their mother gave birth, they're always around the newborn. They seemed to have divided all the tasks among themselves, Galahad said with a smile on his face.
How does he know all of that information?
He is talking to Skolad. So he is aware of this, not Skolad.
Oh.
They're happy, my lord. They just had a beautiful sister after so many years. It is something to be happy about, Skolad responded. I must be sincere. I never knew Eileen could still be pregnant.
Are you a doctor now, Skolad?
The pregnancy was unexpected. We both laughed a lot when she found out she was pregnant. Wait, what? No, hold, wait, roll, bat, no, hold.
I don't know about that.
This. How does this connect with this? I must be sincere. I never knew Eileen could still be pregnant. The pregnancy was unexpected. We both laughed a lot when she found out she was pregnant.
That's just what they did. It doesn't make sense, but that's what they did. Oh, God.
How did he never knew Eileen could still be pregnant?
Well,
does he mean like her ability to become pregnant?
Yeah. That's what I was.
Okay, I was fucking way off. I was
wondering what was.
I didn't know she was still pregnant.
Oh God.
It sounded funny because it wasn't something we were looking out for. It's been close to 16 years since Eileen last had a baby. Okay, so Gale is 16. What about having another baby, my lord? Skolad asked. He's just had one.
No, I don't want it.
Galahad looked at Skolad for a moment. He shook his head in negation. No. I don't want another child, at least not with Eileen, Galahad said. Maybe with another woman then, Skolad said. No, Galahad responded immediately.
You just implied it, Galahad. You literally just implied it. At least just not with Eileen.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yep.
Does anyone here remember what happened when he last tapped someone other than Eileen?
He got away with it, no problem.
No child came of it. His reputation wasn't diminished. He didn't have to kill the woman. He didn't have to send the baby off.
He did not get in any trouble at all. He just fucking killed the lady, no problem. And she came and confronted him about it 18 years later. Oh, Lord. I haven't seen any consequences.
Just that moment, a group of bandits came out of the bush that they
They're
had been
all in the
hiding
bush.
from. They're all in one bush.
So far, I'm not seeing the economy that I'm liking. I'm liking what's going on.
That they had been hiding from. Wait,
what?
just that moment, a group of bandits came out of the bush that they had been hiding from.
It's a scary bush.
They stood before Galahad and his company. "Give us all you've, and we'll spare your life," one of the bandits said as he pointed his sword at Galahad.
Give us all you've. They're starting to shorten everything these days.
Yeah. "Get out of the way," Galahad said to the bandits authoritatively.
Just get. Leave me alone.
"Mr. Noble, this is not your castle. This is a lonely road, surrounded by thick bushes.
Scary
This is
bush.
our castle. We run this place," the leader of the bandits said. "I'm losing my patience. I was thinking we could spare you because of my new daughter, but I can see you all have a date with destruction," Galahad said, and then looked at Skolad. "Kill them all," Galahad instructed.
Let's go, lads. Got this.
"Yes, my lord," Skolad responded. He got down from his horseback immediately. I need to make that into two separate things.
I'm just going to point out that I'm losing my patience is pretty much the best way to sum up the story.
The timing just is so out of whack. I don't know. Things happen in an instant.
The other 5 men with Galahad got down from their horsebacks. Skolad drew his sword. The men with him drew their sword. "Kill and plunder them," the leader of the bandits instructed his team. The two sides attack each other. They got into a sword fight.
Did they?
Skolad and the soldiers with him were well trained, so they slaughtered the bandits.
Yep, it's over.
In the blink of a second, you could say.
In the blink of a second.
Oh.
The leader of the bandits now noticed that they had lost the fight.
That was a torch fart.
Oh.
He started running away. Galahad sighted him. He started chasing after him on his horseback. The leader of the bandits turned and noticed that Galahad was chasing after him. He increased his speed, but Galahad caught up with him. He drew his sword and cut off his head.
Should have increased your speed more.
Fuck, that was a shitty fight.
That was terrible.
It didn't even happen. It was just over. They got into a sword fight and they won. There it was.
Holy hell. Lord Galahad entered the gate of the capital. He was followed by Skolad and the 5 other men who were with him. So, we just time jump again straight to them entering the capital.
I'm telling you, it's quick.
They were heading in the direction of the palace. "What do you think is the cause of banditry?" Galahad asked Skolad.
I don't know. Money?
"I think it is greed," Skolad responded. "No, I don't think you got it right. Everyone has some elements of greed in them. I think you're greedy in certain ways. Right now, if I'm made the king, do you think I won't accept?" Skolad looked at Galahad immediately in surprise. "That's me being greedy?" Galahad said with a chuckle.
I mean, he's getting philosophical here. Okay, he's making some good points, kind of.
They ride quietly for like a minute. So tell me again, what do you think is the cause of banditry? Galahad asked Skolad again.
Wait, it actually said they ride quietly for like a minute.
Yes.
I thought you were just fucking
No.
joking. Oh, what the?
They ride quietly for like a
It
minute.
was like a minute or something like that. I don't know.
Skolad remained quiet for a moment. I think some people will always be greedy and selfish no matter what. That is why we'll always have criminals. But when things are more difficult than they ought to be for the poor citizens, there will be more crimes because the citizens will surely look for a way to survive no matter what. Skolad explained. Now you're talking. When there is more hunger in the land, it goes a long way to bring about more crimes and increases banditry.
Okay, these are all acceptable points. Okay.
They're inept points. I mean, they're not wrong, but
Yeah, they're acceptable.
they are not talking points that... To reduce banditry, the king will have to think of ways to make things better for the masses under his watch because that is the only real way to reduce crime, Galahad said.
Well, it's getting a little bit out of it.
That's true, my lord. I'm bothered about the number of travelers that would have been attacked along the road by those bandits, Galahad said.
That's why you have patrols.
What are patrols?
That's how you keep the bandits in check.
Well, we don't need to be worried about that anymore. They're all dead, Skolad said.
There were only 5 bandits.
That's all of them right there.
Yes, but more will come if nothing is done to improve the kingdom's situation, Galahad said.
If it's only 5 more, I think it's pretty easily handled. None of you even got hurt, apparently.
That's true, but I think the king is doing his best, Skolad responded.
Is he?
The king is not the only one to be doing his best. Others need to be doing their best too. The king should make others do their best, huh? What do you think? Galahad asked Skolad.
Why is he talking to him like a child?
Skolad looked confused. I don't understand, my lord, Skolad responded.
I guess
Galahad started laughing. Does Skolad not understand that the king needs to make others do their part? Because I think that's like the...
It's not a very complicated thing.
No.
He's being very general and simple about everything. Skolad, my man. You need to stood up tall as a knight for this family.
He needs to stood to stand. The king was comfortably seated on the throne in the throne hall. Lord Balin was standing before him and giving him updates on a certain report. We need more revenue from those goods coming into port, Your Grace, Balin said. Balin said has a half quotation mark. It has quotation marks on one side.
I think he just mumbled it to himself. Balin said.
Those people come into our kingdom to do their businesses because they find our kingdom very friendly and comfortable for them to do their business. Because of how friendly our kingdom has been to them over the years, now they go home, they tell their friends and their neighbors. The next time they come back for their trade, they come with their friends and neighbors, and their neighbors have their trade. They see that everything...
He's just... Oh my god. Okay.
And their neighbors have their trade. They see that everything they were told is the truth. They go back, they tell their friends and their families who join them on their next trade. I just want to, real quick here, that's a fucking sentence. That is one long-ass sentence.
And it's saying, if you do good trade, they'll tell people. In the most convoluted way to possibly say it. playing out every step of the way. Oh my lord. That was funny.
So our trade continues to boom. Haven't you noticed how the number of traders coming in from different parts of the world into our kingdom to do business keeps increasing? The king asked Balin.
Wait, was that the king saying that the whole time?
Yes.
Okay.
He's having to train the man giving him an update on what the fuck trade is.
You see, man, giving me the update. If you do good trade, they'll tell other people and bring them here. And do good trade with them, they'll go tell other people, bring them here. And then do good trade with them. That's pretty much what it was.
Your Grace, your observation about traders coming in from different parts of the world is correct.
Oh, dude, okay.
That's civilization.
Way to shit talk king in a very subtle way. Oh my lord.
It means our trade is growing, but this growing trade is yet to affect the lives of our people.
Why? They're the ones
Our
doing
people
the
still
trade.
pay this. Our people still pay the same tax that they have always paid. We had an increment in tax about 4 years ago, Balin said. And for 4 years I've refused to make any increment, the king said. Yes, your grace, but that's not the thing right now. We have to encourage our people in their trade. That should be one of the things that they should gain by being part of this kingdom. I believe we can make life better for them by reviewing the tax they pay.
But it's not like modern times where if you do foreign trade, the domestic trade doesn't get any business because the foreign people trade with the domestic people in medieval times because there are no big businesses.
Yeah.
Okay. Just thought I'd mention that.
Yeah.
Like foreigners coming to do business with a kingdom is good for all the people of the kingdom because they're all doing business with those foreigners. There's no big business yet. It's like the king maybe, but unless he's like constricting all of the trade to go through him, it should just be promoting, wealth among both countries or all the countries. I don't know. That's just what I feel like I remember from just civilization.
That's civilization.
But I don't know. Like, isn't that how it would work? If foreigners came to trade, they'd be selling and buying goods with regular people because there is no big business in the medieval times. Maybe there's like a merchants guild where there are some businesses around, but even then they're employing the people to do their business, so it would support the common people of the kingdom as well, because they don't have like a massive population like in modern times, all working for businesses that go up to like super scale where they don't see any of the profits. We're slave wages right now. We're wage slave.
Well, I mean, I guess like if they're using like copper, silver, gold, like precious metals for currency, then when they return home, they are taking like precious metals like away from the kingdom overall.
Maybe.
But at the same time, they're bringing in useful goods that the kingdom is using.
And trade should be going both ways, where they're also buying stuff and giving us their stuff.
Also, what the fuck does increasing the amount of taxes, the increment in tax, what?
An increment is also a unit of measurement, like that's what it's referring to.
Well, I get that, but what I mean is
increment. You say like an increase.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
but
continue.
What is he trying to argue that like it's been a while since we've increased the amount of taxes people pay? And if that's the case, why would it be annual? Like, why would that be a common thing to do? Like, why is it so precious that it hasn't been done for 4 years?
I guess he's
Because you could argue, you could argue like, well, no, you can't, because if inflation was a thing, which I don't know, I don't know enough to know the effects of inflation or its presence in.
I think it would matter much for raising taxes. That's just like whatever the kingdom needs money for, you know.
Well, yeah, like inflation would have nothing to do with the amount of tax, because if like the value of your currency decreases, then you would need more of it to. What are they doing with this money? That is my question. What the fuck are they doing with this money?
If you tax people more than they can afford, and there's nothing for them to do to make money, is that the situation? Like he's trying to say, nobody's making money, and you increased the taxes 4 years ago, so everybody's fucking dying, or. But I haven't increased it in 4 years. Yeah, but everybody's fucking dying. Like, is that what's going on? Are you? So basically, they're saying foreign trade takes away the domestic trade, so nobody's making money in the homeland.
No,
but he's saying
that is not what they're saying.
No, that is, wasn't it?
That's not what they're saying. We had to take a pause because this is already just inept as hell.
Hold on, you're gonna have to go back over that part. I could have sworn that's what they're saying about the foreign trade.
Right, we have to encourage our people in their trade. That should be one of the things that they should gain by being part of this kingdom. I believe we can make life better for them by reviewing the tax they pay, bringing it down a bit, and then having an increment in the tax that those foreign traders pay. This will bring some kind of balance in our revenue.
Oh. So he's just saying the taxes are the problem. Okay.
Yeah, but what all he's saying is he's trying to do it to make it an incentive for trade, but would it? That seems like it would have massive ramifications for pretty much everyone that's just doing basic jobs and not trading.
What would the decrease in tax in the domestic?
So what Balin's trying to go for is decrease the tax of everyone in the kingdom and offset it by increasing the tax for foreigners coming into the kingdom to trade.
Yeah, so that would make life easier for the domestic people, but make trade a little less prevalent in your kingdom, like he was saying up there, because people won't have as good of a time. They won't tell their friends. They'll tell their friends that it costs more, so they won't trade as much. So that will kind of offset the foreign trading, which I guess if it's having a negative impact on domestic and they need to invest in the domestic, maybe it'll work out better that way, but I don't know. That's the whole situation there.
How would you enforce this?
That whole situation is kind of iffy. Looks like it's too vague and specific at the same time. Like
how would you enforce it? How would you keep track of everyone who comes into the kingdom and wants to trade?
Well, apparently they're just trading with the king. So, I mean, it's what it sounds like. I don't know how. It's just too vague. I don't even get it. I get what they're trying to say. You would presume
that they're coming in through the ports, bringing their wares and stuff into the kingdom.
You can tax them that way pretty easily.
Like setting up, and then setting up like places in bazaars or heading to other towns to trade. How would you keep track of them? How would you increase?
Whale Harbor only trades in spices. I don't think.
Yeah, how do they even get to the kingdom?
I don't think
ships only transport spice.
I don't think any of that really matters. I've put too much thought into this already. Oh my god.
Do they have plans?
Do they go into it more? Will that clear it up, maybe? Maybe we should have a discussion after we get the full details here, if it goes in.
Okay. What your logic is pushing for is like taking from these people and giving to these other people, the king said. We'll be giving to our people. This will make life a lot better for them, and don't forget, they'll love you more and see you as a king with their interests at heart, Balin said. I'm not concerned about them loving me. I'm only concerned about making a good decision that would be good for the image of this kingdom.
That is retarded. King, get your priorities straight, King.
Yeah, so he doesn't give a shit about his people. He just wants the kingdom to look good. Just that moment, a knight walked into the throne hall. He walked and stood before the king and then went with a knee to the floor.
Can't even imagine what that looks like.
Your Grace, Lord Galahad is in the palace to see you. The knight was announced. Knight spelled N-I-G-H-T.
I guess it's nighttime now, too.
The knight was announced. Oh, this is good timing. Bring him in. I need his opinion now, the king said. The knight then stood up and walked out immediately.
Galahad, tell that king he needs to think more complex about trade than what he is. I don't think it works that way.
Chapter 9, in conjunction, parentheses combined with other Chapter 9.
Other Chapter
Galahad
9?
is the book. This is part 2 of Chapter 9.
Okay.
Repent, repent, he repeated urgently. We must all repent for the sins we have committed. If we do not, we shall surely face God's wrath, he preached. We each bear sins, and in order to relinquish ourselves of them, we must confess them in the Holy Church.
Preach it.
There is only one Holy Church.
Well, you don't need more than one.
Bishop Nicholas Canty was rather firm in his preachings, unchanging to his ideals. There hasn't been a day Galahad didn't catch him in the city's yard. Well, what about all the days that he was at home?
He gets around. Galahad gets around. We know he's napping. He's teleporting. Galahad gets around.
The bishop holds his sacred texts in hand, with a royal bell in the other hand, ringing it to call for attention. He found him to be rather noisy. So, 2 questions on this part. 1, what is a bishop doing, like, crying out for attention out in the streets? And 2, why does he have a royal bell?
It's a special item. It's a rare drop.
So why is Galahad outside of the king's castle? This is a next scene just before the scene we ended on. Okay, I get that.
It's in the city's yard, not in the courtyard.
He's about to walk in, and we'll have the king ask for his opinion. Okay.
But no, why is a bishop out there doing, like, religious shit?
There's only a couple bishops and a pope. That's all there is.
That's the entire religion.
That's
the
all. The
entire organization consists of like 4 people.
Maybe 5. Those are the numbers he uses.
Galahad casually walked by him to reach the king's castle, but the bishop quickly spuns up in front of him.
Oh my lord, he's Sonic the Hedgehog.
He briefly shakes his hand and forcefully greets Bishop Canty.
Jeez. Hello, Bishop!
Hail, Bishop! He greeted. God save you, he replied eagerly. It is a blessing you have visit Jorkorich in its time of need.
So that is the capital now. It changed, unless that's the city in the region known as like the Iron name. Maybe.
Iron Keep?
Yeah, maybe Iron Keep is, maybe that's just the castle name. And Jorkarith is the city. Or Jorkarith.
Yeah, it was Jorkorith last time.
They like the shorter stuff.
With the rumors of the demons of sin being progressively more active by the day,
Not
it
rumors.
is only our hope to put our faith in the Great Lord, Sir Galahad.
It's a good point. If
Is
he's
he
actually
naming him the Great Lord?
Well, that could.
Is Galahad Jesus?
Yes.
He's come. He said God save you to him, so he thinks Galahad's a Sid.
Additionally, can we just note that Galahad has completely just fucking failed, given the rumors of demons of sin have already reached the capital?
And are they rumors? Does anybody know if they're real or not? Can we confirm it?
Also, how does anyone know about the rumors of demons of sin if the only person who has seen it, being William, fucked off in the north still, and the only thing that fucking dead mummy guy saw was demons attacking the castle?
Maybe all demons are demons of sin, but does he even believe in them? Does any of them? It seems like he does. But why does he call them rumors? I guess it could be rumors of real events. Maybe that's. It just sounds so weird calling them rumors.
Well, this is the
like everybody
Bishop
knows
saying.
they're there. Everybody knows they're doing stuff.
It's just rumors.
I think it's gone beyond rumors. Everybody knows.
Canty, I send my regards to you in the Holy Church, but as you see, I have eager business to attend to. You see, I am due a meeting with the king at once, and as such must hurry my way there. I bid you a farewell, Bishop Canty.
That's a bit forward of you.
I bid you a farewell. Galahad said as he gave a polite bow.
He's a bishop, Galahad. Leave him be.
The bishop's eyes gleam with disappointment as he holds the bell in his hand tightly.
So he's crying.
I see. Unfortunately. Perhaps another time. And another thing I should mention. I heard your wife is due for another child. I do hope you make sure to baptize the child rather young. Galahad gave him a simple nod and proceeded to leave. He notices the bishop returning to his position, chiming the bell while gaining more followers. Foolish, he thought of the people gathering around him as some sort of prophet.
So he doesn't believe in the religion?
I guess not.
All right.
He believes in the demons, but he doesn't believe in the church.
Pretty sure he was like at one point,
Very.
proselytizing or something. Oh, well.
He makes his way northeast where the great castle lays. The king's chateau, which is a French castle, extends all the way to the riverbanks of the city. It was a castle like no other, but calling it a castle wouldn't do it justice. It was, after all, the king's domain.
Ships that are too big for ships and castles too big for castles.
How many fucking things in this world are just OP for the sake of saying, it was blank like no other. Calling it blank would not do it justice. The fucking ships in Whale Harbor are Titanics made out of wood.
They go big in this world.
The Valak bear was a bear like none other. Fucking Korg has armor like none other.
Oh no, he's tall like none other too. Almost a monster.
I mean, fucking hell. Korgrad's palace had existed since the unification of Maladin and the time of Korg the Great.
Oh
Since
my god.
Since then, his predecessors has rule the throne.
Just the throne.
Just
they
the throne.
They has ruled the throne.
They has ruled the throne.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Pretty common knowledge that they has ruled the throne.
They has ruled the throne. However, the current ruler of the throne, King Astanus III, was a rather poor excuse of a ruler, Galahad thought. So there's your first name right there. King Astanus III.
That's Anthanus, I think.
Fucking hell. Antanius. King Anthanus III was a rather poor excuse of a ruler. He walked straight through the extensive yard surrounded by evergreen trees. Wimbert rested on the castle steps.
He's back.
He has returned.
Leaning on his blade with his arms crossed.
Okay.
Does no one give a fuck about their weapons here?
I figured it out based on this next line. Go ahead.
Someone's well rested, Galahad said jokingly. Well, a king's knight should be well rested if he would be called upon for battle. Would you agree, Lord Galahad?
He's Skolad's brother, Wimbert, because Askeladd called Skolad out, calling him a half knight because his brother's a king's knight. So Wimbert is a king's knight, which is the brother of Skolad. We've got it.
That doesn't explain how they teleport or switch bodies.
I don't know.
Friday style.
I don't know why he was escorting Galahad to Whale Harbor at that one point.
That also doesn't explain how they're like shifting and phasing in place so that Skolad was with him on the way out.
No, that doesn't. But I think we can confirm that those two are at least two different people. Scotland and Gavin. Now
So Scotland and Gavin are still two just weird entities.
Yeah, Scotland I could see as a spelling error, but Gavin, there's no way it auto-corrected to Gavin.
No.
I don't know where Gavin came from.
Perhaps you rest too much, Wimbert. You look weary. That doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. How are you so well rested you look weary?
It does on some level, because you rest too much and then you get lazy. Maybe that's what he means.
Wimbert rises up. Well, there isn't much in the way of action nowadays. Well, you can always travel north. Plenty of action up there. Monsters and beasts alike stay there.
Galahad.
You mean demons, do you? I think not. I am a king's guard, and as such I must say near his greatness at all times.
But you didn't. You were with Galahad.
You didn't. You gotta say near.
Okay, so I'm thinking Skolad thought he was Wimbert at that time. Or maybe Galahad did, because he confused him for his brother. Whoever was the reigning perspective in that moment confused him for his brother. But it was actually Skolad the whole time.
Well, do you care enough to take me to the king and fulfill the only task you have? Ah, I suppose if I must. Come now, let's meet the great king. He leads him to the throne room. Galahad followed him to the throne room.
Yep, that's what you just said.
Yeah. Winbert, out of nowhere, inquiry about his brother.
Boom.
I heard Scalborg. I heard Scalborg had visited your home.
Oh,
Stop! Stop changing his name!
It's Cyborg
Scotland, Skolad, and Scalborg now. He's got 3 names so far. I want to know about Gavin, but I don't want to know about Gavin. We'll just leave him by the wayside. But Scalborg. You see, I figured it out before it was revealed, though. That's his brother. I'm paying attention.
I heard Scalborg had visited your home to teach the young lord some swordplay lessons.
Well, he had visited, so he's not even his knight, but he was. He stood to stand as a knight of the household.
Well, this is Cyborg Skolad. He's a different creature.
Obviously, it's more expensive, and he's just a training cyborg.
Shame he isn't much of a sword fighter, Winbert said.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe he's just a cheap trainer.
I consider him to be a fine sword wielded.
oh.
After all, he is quite talented.
Maybe he's a cyborg that transforms into a sword.
So you know how, like, Megatron turns into a gun? Scalborg turns into a sword.
Because he's a fine sword wielder.
After all, he is quite talented with a blade in hand and doesn't need to hoax his way as a master sword master. Galahad said as Winbert eyes narrow.
You wouldn't want to be a novice sword master. I'll tell you that much.
How noble of you to give such praise to Scalborg. Shame
It's
he isn't a king's knight.
It's consistent now.
He is Scalborg. Shame he isn't a king's knight. I supposed his sword's skills are still lacking, Winbert said with his voice tone getting more serious. Indeed, Galahad said, calming him down. By the way, Balin, is meeting with the king as well. Balin, how come? Probably to hassle the king for trivial things like always, he said, chuckling. I do, but however, this painting has caught my eye, you see. I have never seen such a more beautiful painting in my life, Balin, wouldn't you say? Galahad remarked.
Galahad? What's happened?
Wrong. We get some clarification here. Huh? What do I care about some old painting? What are you, brain dead? Balin said.
There's a damn jump. There's a damn jump from after he chuckled about the king getting hassled trivially to being in the room and talking to Balin about a painting. But yes, he is brain dead.
Do you know the significance of this painting, Balin? If was a painting done by Jargon Vale, your ancestor in fact,
if it was.
It during...
Wait, what?
If was a painting done by Jargon Vale, your ancestor in fact.
Oh, okay. I guess we'll roll with it.
He painted it during the defeat of Madrid when 12 great men rebelled against him and made themselves known. Which, yes, does confirm that the fucking sword isn't magic. Because that random shit is now included in the story.
Nor is it Elvish.
I didn't know that Madrid was referenced in the story, but fucking hell it is.
No. How much did we actually miss?
A fucking lot.
Apparently, yes.
Your brains couldn't keep up. You read it too quick.
Who cares about some history lesson, Galahad? I have more important business to discuss, Balin said. As do I, Galahad replied. Windbert quickly rushes into the room and kneel down before the king. My apologies, sir, for Balin's sudden interruption.
But that's not what happened.
They weren't even in the throne room. Windbert just rushes into the room and kneels down.
Galahad interrupted, not Balin, but I guess he means for Balin's getting suddenly interrupted.
It's quite all right, Windbert. These matters involve Balin as well. King Anthony said as he signaled Windbert to rise.
Nope, that is. So Windbert let Balin in on accident. He wasn't even supposed to be there.
Also, King Anthony.
Yeah.
That's his nickname. Just like Scalborg.
Balin immediately starts to question the king. Do you know what is going on right now, sir? With the current ruckus going on with all the demons roaming the Nylands.
Okay, so somebody in this narrative thinks Galahad is now called Balin because this is all stuff that's supposed to be Galahad.
With the current ruckus going on with all the demons roaming the Nylands, otherwise known as the Demon Lands, everyone is afraid to enter the borders. I haven't done trade with any merchants from Korgon in nearly 3 months, sir. Galahad, furious and mad, asks, your worry about some spice.
So Korgon also trades with spices.
The spice.
Maybe that's the only trade good from anywhere.
It's the only thing ships are built for. Men are dying out there, my men, and every day I lose more and more of them. How many men do we must lose before we finally do something?
How many men do we must lose?
Wow.
Both of you stop. I won't allow such ill contempt within the presence of the king, Windbert said.
Windbert, I don't think you got enough power to be silencing lords now. But okay, you do.
The king suddenly raises his right hand and angrily shouts, Stop it, you two, as both Balin and Galahad look towards the king in surprise at his response. Both men are now silent as he continues to remark, I am well aware of the kingdom's current circumstances. I know of the risks associated with positioning troops at the borders, as well as the risks if they manage to get inside. However, as the king, I must protect the ideal of peace that we hold so dear to us within Jorkarith, as I refuse to let the notice of fear run rampant down the streets.
Oh, yeah. All right.
He's just rambling. The king doesn't even know what's going on.
If troops start parading down the streets every day, what do you think would happen? Panic would ensure the city, as the Jorkarith would be full of tense and uneasiness. If I, doublespace, allow the capital to sustain such fear, then what would the other kingdoms think of Maladin? Balin, in response, why not push the borders back?
Okay.
Isn't there a wall
Does he
there?
just mean relinquish, like, portions of their land? Is that what he's saying? Because if that's the case, wouldn't that cause more fear? Just for some estranged reason, the king decides to just vacate a portion of the land near the demon's lands for no fucking reason?
I mean, that's a weird wording. 'Cause it could mean, like, push the borders further into demon territory.
Yeah, but that's retarded.
Yeah. What does he say after that? I'm not sure what he's talking about at all.
Oh, fuck. Hold on. It's explained a little bit later. Surely that is possible. It is not your lord. Is it not your lord? He's calling the king a lord. That shouldn't happen.
Oh,
Then I could perhaps spread my territory such enough to allow other merchants to come visit to bring their goods for trade.
So he is talking about expanding the borders.
But then, Galahad, looking straight back at Balin, comments, and sacrifice the outermost layers of our kingdom. Are you mad? For some scapes of coin.
Scaps. Scaps.
The lines that divide the borders allow us to protect the people within. That is how we manage to have a regional advantage over the enemies. I see this is the exact moment where the strategy starts to bubble up.
I'm not seeing anything of the sort. But if you see it, okay.
The lines that divide the borders allow us to protect the people within. That is how we manage to. That is how we manage to have a regional advantage over the enemies. So by having borders, you have a regional advantage over the enemy.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
If we let that go, I don't think we stop full invasion towards the innermost cities.
So he was talking about, like, sacrificing the borders by drawing them in. But then how is he going to expand his area if he sacrifices the borders? What is he talking about?
No fucking clue.
I cannot get a grasp here.
The king, in observance, go on to say, I have considered that possibility, but as king, I cannot sacrifice the advantage provided by us at the borders, as it is crucial to our defense, as well as not sacrificing the trade that allows us to sustain our kingdom. Therefore,
Wait a
I
second.
believe...
Go back up to Bailey real quick. Where was it? Wait, there it is. Okay, I think.
This?
Then I could perhaps spread my territory enough to allow the merchants to come visit to bring their goods for trade. If he lowers the border, if he gives up the borders, then he would spread his territory enough to allow merchants to come. I was thinking maybe it would make sense in some way, like, but it doesn't. I was thinking it would make some kind of sense with that new information, but it doesn't.
Therefore, hold on. Okay, so going back to this, I have considered that possibility, but as king, I cannot sacrifice the advantage provided by us at the borders.
I'm lost.
As it is crucial to our defense, as well as not sacrificing the trade that allows us to sustain our kingdom. Therefore, I believe in the best interest of everyone it is best to announce a royal court. What the fuck?
Hey.
So, he is saying that not doing that is bad. And so he decides to just gather everyone for a thing. They don't even know what their plan is, or they don't even have a proposed idea. They're just saying, fuck it, we're going to bring these people into the capital. Also, previously, Galahad was supposed to go and convince the king of a royal court. All this was he was fighting with some fuck named Balin and saying we shouldn't just lose land.
I think
There's no fucking way that was his plan.
Balin was trying to expand his territory to allow trade to come in even after they give up the borders. Maybe that's what he was saying. But
isn't Balin his advisor?
No,
fucking
he's one of the lords, I think. I think he's one of the 12 lords, maybe. But it seems to make some amount of sense. He was trying to say, why don't we give up our borders so I guess we're not getting attacked by demons at the borders anymore, which is stupid because then the demons will just come further south, but he wasn't thinking about that. But if they gave up the borders, they wouldn't be able to have trade with people near those borders, so he'd expand his territory to allow for the trade by going to the border again. Just not the entire border, just enough to allow trade to come in. But that's also stupid.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that it might just be stupid. So maybe that's what they actually. Maybe that is what they meant. If he's one of the 12 lords, which I think he is, but I have no idea because it doesn't.
Yeah, I just checked. He is Lord Balin, so he is one of them.
Okay, so yeah, he's got territory. He wants to expand. Maybe he's just trying to be greedy. Maybe that's all that is. Still, it's a stupid idea because you're saying get away from the borders, but we'll lose trade. So I'll expand my territory so we don't lose trade. But then you're pretty much just going back to the borders to get that trade back again.
What the fuck is he expanding into? The ocean?
No. Like if they pull back from the wall, he's going to expand back between the kingdom and the wall to allow trade to come in. So he's saying pull back and then expand again the exact same way, but with him in charge of all of it. But it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
None of it does. But that's the only heads or tails I can make of that. Why he would say that. But it just means he's stupid.
Balin, outraged and furious at the king, responds, "Outrageous! You surely are a fool of a king. A royal court with who? The noble houses of Maladin. Surely there wouldn't come for this."
He was supposed to go there to make him do
that. Well, Galahad was. Also, if you won't come to discuss, if you won't head over to the capital to discuss fucking invading demons, what the fuck is the point? if that won't convince you to go over and have a chat, what will?
Spice.
Spice. Oh, there will, as I will make certain of that.
He's got the
King
power.
Anthony said. This will shortly bite you in the ass later.
Sure.
Heed my warnings, as I had warned you of such ill-conceived notices. Balin then proceeds to leave angrily. Sir Galahad smirks with delight as Balan finally makes his way out of the palace.
Oh.
Ginbert went out of his way to make a statement to the angry Balin.
Ginbert. Hold on, I gotta take a quick break.
Okay.
Oh.
Dude, this fucking chat.
This is bad.
So we have Scalborg, Ginbert,
forgot about that.
King Anthanis, or whatever the fuck it is, which is another misspelling. We are brought to the attention of King Anthony. Fucking this. So they were talking about taxes, which is an inept idea to begin with what they were trying to like describe it as, or try to even begin to offer.
Yeah.
But then it takes a pause, and he goes to let Galahad come in, which he was expecting, even though he shouldn't have. And then he doesn't even finish the taxes conversation, because Galahad and Balin get into a shit fit about just openly mothballing forts around the outside of their borders and relinquishing land, which is also insane. Fucking hell.
It's terrible. It's so bad.
It's just absurd.
No. Half of the stuff he comes up with is so disjointed. Half of it doesn't even make any sense because it doesn't relate to anything.
No, it does not at all.
And it hops around all the time. Oh, God.
How do you mistype Winbert?
Oh, yeah, he put Ginbert, right?
So G is in the middle of your keyboard. W is in the top left. You can't mistake that.
Yeah, that's,
How do you mix up Hanius or whatever and Anthony?
Did he have a stroke while writing this shit? Oh, man.
So yeah, this chapter, it confirms, it includes the Madrid storyline, which is where the fucking Sword of Ludwig comes from.
Yeah.
And that wasn't magical. They just forged it, gave it a name, and told like some dude to stabby stab.
It's not only that, it's not even Elven at all.
No, in the Madrid story, it's not Elven. It's not magical. It's not made out of any special metal. It's just a sword.
It's just a sword. Holy.
How do they have knowledge of the Madrid storyline when that takes place long before the Empire, which everyone has forgotten?
Yep. It's insane.
I am returned.
Excellent. Where were we? Balan finally makes his way out of the palace. Ginbert went out of his way to make a statement to the angry Balin. Don't forget to show Balin.
What?
What?
Huh?
Ginbert went out of his way to make a statement to the angry Balin. Don't forget to show Balin.
Oh, okay. Comma, Balin. Don't forget to show up for the meeting that's going to happen. Without
Fair
the
enough.
comma.
I mean, that's still fucking stupid.
Yeah, he's Wimbert. What the hell? How much power does this man have?
Balin looks with an annoyed expression and closes the door behind him. King Anthony III, annoyed with the current circumstances, rubs his head as he dismisses Galahad. Galahad, in surprise, questions him as he responds, Galahad, there is no need for your stay. You can come back when the rest are set to return. Ginbert, send word to the other houses of the royal court.
Why did his name change to Ginbert?
Why does he keep calling him Ginbert?
How does he consistent after he changes it too? Like, how does that keep happening? Scalborg and then Ginbert.
Yeah.
How long
Scalborg.
does it take? How long are the breaks between writing the first part and the last part of the chapter?
Well, again, you would think that if you are at the point where you have written down like 23 chapters, you would at least have notes of who the fuck your characters are. Even if it's just the names, and you're rolling with the rest of it.
Because otherwise it would turn out like this. You would forget.
And do you know what's confusing? He did have a document.
Yeah, he did.
It kept track of the names, a quick description of each person, and what house they are a part of.
Now that's organizing. But you gotta actually use
this still happened.
He just glances. Oh, it's some kind of invert. It's some kind of it's got an S in it. An S and a C.
Scalborg.
What about Gavin? You gotta ask him one day about Gavin.
We did. He never responded.
Yeah, he gets really quiet when we start asking him about stuff.
You know, it could just be like he wrote a lot more than what we're seeing here, and he just like erased a lot of it and then forgot to erase certain parts. That could be what we're seeing. So the Gavin could have been included in that chapter as a villager or something, but we just have no idea because it's gone.
Yeah, but if you're cutting that stuff, you would still like Control F to make sure that there are no references to what you deleted.
No, you would. As you can see, Gavin was there.
I have a feeling he had way more than he lets on.
I think so. Chapter 10. A King and His Brother. Asthanas is the focus. Asthanas never really enjoyed ruling. He wonders how different it would have been if he were to rule, Cranus.
Wait, and Anthonys was the first spelling, and
it
then it
was
Anthony, and now it's
No, Anthony's different. Anthony's different.
No.
No, it is different. I give you my fucking word, later on in this story, there is a separate king named Anthony Alonso.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What? But we just had him. We just had him. Is he not this guy?
No.
But we just had him.
I know. But it wasn't him.
Okay, I'll accept it for now. I'll see if I can see if I can keep this together.
Also, I just want to point out, these words are right fucking next to each other, and he fucked up the spelling immediately.
But wait, what was the reference to Anthonys, which is one or two letters off from Asthanas earlier before that chapter? What was that?
So he fucked up the S and made it an N, which again is on the opposite side of the keyboard.
Hold on, but this was referring to this king. So what was that reference? What were they saying about this king?
I think what he did was he changed which king was there at the time.
Okay, so he was.
But
so
also the king is there at the time. He's just not seen at the time.
Are you sure Asthanas isn't happening?
Fucking telling you, there are three kings ruling this kingdom.
Look, we've seen what happens with names. Are you sure he didn't change it to Anthony and then forget to change it again in this chapter? And now it actually is Anthony, but he's still using these 3 other names here. Anthonys.
Whenever we ask about the king, he uses a combination of these 2 names, so it's Asthanius. So there is a third spelling, and that's the main spelling from then on. But when we talk to him outside of this story, that is the name that he uses for this king. So it was Asthanius. Or rather, is and will be.
You mean in the last chapter? It was Asthenius, or are you talking
Yes.
about? Okay, so it is that guy. He just
Yeah,
named.
he was just given a little Easter egg, or like a little nudge to the next king that we meet in due time in the same kingdom, ruling the same kingdom.
Oh man, you had me, you lost me.
Yeah, just
I'll go with.
Asthenius never really enjoy ruling. He wonders how different it would have been if he were to rule, Cranus. Cranus would surely know what to do with Galahad and how to handle the monsters beyond the border. After all, he was much better than he was, and the true heir of Maladin. If only he didn't die during Geraint's conquest of Alegord. Now, I think we went over this before in the unrecorded times.
Yeah, I think we wrote this last time at the very end.
Did I save it?
It was just our after
I did not.
discussion where we were talking about how there's no way he would have been, but was
Yeah, it was
not
that was
not
disgusting.
looking at the diagram again.
Yeah, that was so. I'm just going to go ahead and mark this with a strike through because we have already discussed the time loop scenario.
To give a summary, maybe the Korg had all of his sons and everything before Geraint even existed.
No,
Maybe.
because he did not enter this kingdom. He didn't know about this kingdom. And his children were not alive beforehand.
But one of his children
was. No.
What that just said. Cranus. Okay. That's basically the summary of where the discussion ended. Maybe Korg was around before, but wasn't.
He wasn't. He would have whooped Geraint's ass. He would have fucking disemboweled him.
I'd love to see a more fleshed out backstory so we know these things. But okay, let's see what this king has to tell.
However, before he could dwell more on his brother, a visitor soon flooded into the throne room, one he did not expect. He was a bulky man with a shine emitting from his head where his hair should be. He easily recognized him as Branathus, someone he couldn't forget. Branathus was supposed to oversee Sunbury, as Lord, but it seems he decided to pay him a visit like always. He knew his brother
always or forevers is added in there. Just they're not supposed to be there.
Yeah. He knew his brother well, and that he would only come to the city to give his so-called godly advice. He let out a loud sigh. I see you've come to pay me a visit.
Dude, why would you be exasperated? He gives godly advice. Oh wait, maybe it means religious advice, or yeah, that's probably what he means.
No, I came to give you wisdom, Branathus let out a loud chuckle. I rode in such a lovely carriage, and you know what I see just looking beyond? The absolute worst sight, spelled S-I-T-E.
It's
imaginable.
The worst place imaginable.
The best city of Maladin reduces to hoarding peasants of the lowest class and rodents alike.
Oh God, the rats are there too.
The rodents are hoarding shit as well. So, I like this. It keeps the weird personification of just, like, sapient fucking, like, animals and fucking, like, insects just roaming around in shitty places. Just
Oh yeah, they're everywhere. That's perfect.
anywhere that's shitty, they just go over and hoard shit. To be honest, I couldn't tell the difference. He let out another loud laugh.
Damn, how you gonna harp on that city like that?
It sounds like you at least got to enjoy a decent ride to the castle, Asthanius said half sarcastically. Half decent, more like it, Bernathus said, reminiscing of the ride. Did you know they are bandits running amok as well?
Who are bandits?
Asthanius's face straightened. Bandits? Where? He said as his eyes were focused on Bernathus.
It was just 5 guys. Not a big deal.
Bernathus let out a soft-hearted sigh. Cities, forests, and fields alike. They are hardly a place you wouldn't find them in such a huge kingdom. So if he's just talking about bandits overall, what the fuck does that have to do with the conversation?
He just came in shit talking everything. So the city sucks, the kingdom
Your castle
sucks.
your fucking capital sucks.
This is a guy who gives godly advice. Okay, let's see what he says. Maybe that is the advice.
You know, honestly, he's probably not wrong then. I mean, he's like the first proper character in this story to say, yeah, everything about this society is awful.
And there are demons in the north.
Is that so? Asthanus knew of the city's troubles, but didn't realize that some of the people have turned into such violent criminals. He wondered how much he really knew of the kingdom. What?
Huh?
He wondered how much he really knew of the kingdom,
it sounded like he was
of how
about...
many criminals were entering his city.
Well, that's a stretched line right there. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. He knew he would have to handle this. Just the morning of my arrival, we encountered some, Bernathus swore. Of course they didn't last long. Sunbury men are strong-willed and easily drove them off.
Didn't slaughter them like Galahad.
You let them go, Asthanus said, mocking his honor. He felt slightly irritated that he let them go, that violent people could attack nobility and get away with it. However, he was glad his men were taught well in combat. More like they flee faster than my men could travel, he said diligently, responding
They increased
back.
their speed properly.
So, no. See, you need to understand. See, his men stayed on horseback, and the bandits were on foot. That gave them a natural advantage to outrun them.
Galahad just got lucky that they didn't increase their speed by much. They would have been out of there.
After all, the city is huge and harder to navigate, unlike Sunbury. Sunbury is much too small to be compared to Jorkarith, Asthanus said defensively. What sort of place do you think this is? Your personal garden like Sunbury?
Okay, I think we know about Sunbury. Now you can stop saying Sunbury.
Bernathus took a moment to think. Perhaps you're right. Sunbury is a much better place. It's a shame I shall not be going back anytime soon. What? Asthanus said, confused. You do not mean you are leaving Sunbury? Surely you would not leave your realm unprotected, Asthanus said out of concern. And what of you? Bernathus laughed at his remark. Of course not. In fact, I had named a new heir to take lordship of Sunbury. I have heard horrid rumors of monsters and people alike, so I sent forth to offer you my help, but not without naming Danathon as the new Lord of Sunbury.
Danathon.
It's a whole Dan marathon.
You name a lord without my approval, and Danathon of all. He is still a boy, 16 in age, Asthanus said, angry and frustrated. Surely you do not mind, Bernathus said, trying to ease his brother. Furthermore, Danathon is quite capable himself. He may be young, but he is a true lord at heart.
So he's one of the 12 lords and the king's brother.
Yes.
And he gave up being a lord to his son of Sunbury.
Yes.
Okay.
The king had met Danathon in only a few instances. Each one gave him the same impression. He was far too slim and feeble to rule like his father. If he rules over Sunbury, surely it'll fall apart like the kingdoms of old. The news of
they're all
his...
still around.
Oh no. Oh no. You do not know of the kingdoms of old.
Oh,
and how they rose and fell within decades.
But they're still there after because they rose again.
The news of his lordship troubles him greatly, with the rampant rumors of the demons lurking at the borders along with his brother's arrival, and now the sudden news of Danathon ascension to the Lord of the Sunlands.
Oh my God.
He had far too much to worry about.
That's the nickname for Sunbury, the realm of Sunbury.
Yet he was glad Bernathus was there. He felt kind of glad to have someone else there to help him rule the kingdom.
It was Cranus his brother too?
Cranus was the brother of Asthanus/Asthanis/ Anthanus /Asthanius the third.
Okay, so this is another brother.
Another brother.
Okay.
If it is in your best judgment, brother, then I trust your choice, Asthanus said. Ah, there you go, Bernathus chuckled. I knew you would. Bernathus' face seemed to be gleam of fondness of Asthanus' acceptance of Donathon, a new status of lord.
Okay, that was a sentence. Maybe.
We must have a party sometime in Sunbury to celebrate the boy. I do not believe that is necessary. Visiting the realms of Maladin is not my duty. My place is here within the city, Asthanus said unwavering. So, the king literally never leaves the capital?
Yep, never. Wimber doesn't either. Remember that.
You mean Ginbert?
Yeah.
That may be so, Bernathus said with his eyes slowly fading.
He's dying.
So long.
But you really should travel to Sunbury sometime. I'll even throw you a grand party to celebrate just your visit alone. The parties there are unlike, he took a moment to pause, admiring his very own words, unlike any you have seen.
Oh, he's just the
fireworks are truly God's finest, each one his finest works. The feast is just as glamorous, mutton made of the most high-quality goats in all the kingdom.
Goat?
Yeah, so I guess mutton is goat in this world. Am I retarded in thinking that mutton meant lamb?
Yeah, that's.
I have no idea.
Yeah, mutton is sheep.
It's sheep.
It's something like that. It's not like beef. But lamb is a baby sheep. Yeah.
Okay. The fruit is no different, being handpicked only from the finest trees that have been blessed by our ancestors for hundreds of years. Bernathus could hardly contain his excitement about Sunbury. And the women, don't even let me get started on them.
Oh, please, Bernathus.
Bernathus Aslan has always been a fan of parties. He could eat and fuck as much as he wants then. There wasn't a day that went by that he wouldn't mention one or even try to start one the next day. However, Astanus could not help but wish he had the same feelings when it comes to ruling. Quick question. At the parties, he could eat and fuck as much as he wants. He has a son, so presuming that he's not destroying his family reputation with the whole bastard thing, does that literally mean he just has like a fucking platter in his bedroom fucking his wife the entire party?
Well, yeah, that sounds like a party.
He just starts a party and he just locks himself in his fucking room.
All right, guys, everybody celebrate. All right, come on, baby, let's go back to the room. I got my platter.
While everything is burning.
Oh, God. Unless he's just promiscuous, like a motherfucker.
Lord, Astanus said, putting a stop to Bernathus's. Oh, fucking hell. Bernathus's? He has an apostrophe S after a name that ends with S.
Yeah, that's all.
Useless rambling. I trust you did not come to me to bring the wisdom of women and food. Surely not. He grumbles at Astanus, stating, Brother, do you not know? Witting stating. Brother, you do not know about the finer things in life. How long have you been a king for? 10 long years, Astanus said in a slow and sad tone of voice. And yet how many women have you laid in bed? Bernathus saw his brother's sad-ridden face, and immediately knew the answer.
None, is it?
None, is it? He said, looking back at him for confirmation.
Oh my
No
God.
wonder you're so ill of heart. You have yet to experience the pleasure of women.
He is promiscuous as a motherfucker.
My pleasure is in ruling and ruling alone. I do not need women to entertain my rule, Astanus said unwavering.
He doesn't waver. I'll give you that much.
Come, Bernathus said as he motions his hand for Astanus to follow.
Uh-oh.
They. He then thought, or he thought heavily of the. There's just a sentence with the word they.
You see,
they saw a bear.
Redacted an entire paragraph or so and left they.
They saw a bear. Oh my fucking god. You cannot remove stuff and leave things like they.
They.
He thought heavily of the royal court, considering what must be done, but he wasn't quite sure of himself how to handle it. The city was already starting to go into ruins,
What?
and the only hope he could bring them is entertainment to ease their worries.
Yeah. Oh.
So your capital is falling into shit. You are doing nothing, and so you're just going to entertain them while everything is going into hell. Yeah, he is an awful fucking king.
That's a way to rule right there.
If his entertainment or pleasure isn't ruling, then he must be fucking dour.
No, he's unwavering.
His brother rode beside him to the grace fields, Bernathus, a smart man who knew what action was always needed of him. He knew he could always rely on his brother when he was unsure. I heard Galahad and Balin both came to see you, and what did they say? Bernathus inquired. They came to grunt about a royal courting of all 12 houses of Maladin. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is, but the term royal courting just sounds like a bunch of noble families are going to get together in a fucking, like, Caligulan
Yeah.
orgy.
Oh, yeah. That's a noble pile right there.
Surely you did not approve of such a meeting. At last I did, brother. At last I
He's the
did.
one who suggested it. He came up with it.
Yeah, he did. In fact, Balin was talking about fucking taxes.
And Galahad didn't say anything about it. He just came in and started fighting with Balin.
You must know of the people of the city. Rumors are flowing around about your occupation of the throne. They claim you to be weak, and given your current situation, well of your ability to pass the throne naturally, you will surely lose faith, he said knowly.
No.
Shh, you must not speak of that so casually. What if we are heard, Asthanis? Winbert, he yelled out casually. Yes, my lord, Winbert said as he kneels. Did you need something of me? Yes, Bernathus said. Keep guard by the door and do not let anyone enter regardless of status. But of course, my lord, Winbert said.
Does nobody know he doesn't have a son?
Nobody knows he has a wife or a son.
Is he pretending
No one doesn't know
to
that.
have a son?
And I know we've talked about this before, but why would the king not have a guard by his door 24/7?
I thought they were walking somewhere. I thought they were the grace
They're
fields.
riding to some fucking grace fields.
Where are they now? I guess they got to the grace fields, and it's a
He just
house.
told the entire kingdom that his fake wife and fake son are in his bedroom, so he's sending Winbert back to the capital to make sure no one goes inside.
Oh, we're missing something here, though. There's somewhere.
Winbert leaves gracefully.
He did leave.
There, all handle now. So we can speak freely, brother.
Oh.
You said it all in front of
What does
Winbert.
guarding the door have to do with speaking freely if you're nowhere near your bedroom?
They're talking about Winbert. They didn't want to say it around him, but they already said it. He already said the whole thing.
What should I do? Well, since you call the royal courting, the people will surely think less of you. The fact you must call others to handle the matters up north is quite troublesome. Is it? How the fuck is gathering the people overseeing your lands for input on a decision fucking a lessening thing?
Especially when you kind of need them to figure out what to do, because you don't have a whole army. I imagine you got the 12 lords. Like,
Yeah.
if it's not a central focused power where the king has all the power, which it doesn't really seem like it, then he's gotta kind of call them together if there's a big issue.
Yeah.
He would seem like an idiot if he didn't. And Demons just overran the kingdom because he didn't call them together.
What should I do then? And I just want to say, I don't know if this has been present before. I have no fucking idea how he did it, but there is a lowercase I.
It happens. He figures.
That has to be intentional. I have not seen a Word document application that doesn't autocorrect a individual letter I in like forever.
Something landed on his shift key when he pressed it. Made it a lowercase.
Yeah, you can't do that. No,
Oh,
even
wait,
if
no.
you have caps
You'd
lock
have to
on
have
and you hit
caps
shift,
lock.
it still auto fixes.
Yeah.
It still auto fixes it though.
Yeah. Well, not if you like backspace and then do it again.
Yeah, but again, that would have to be intentional.
Either that or like
There's
that
no
sentence
fucking
was
way
way
that's an
different.
accident.
Could have been way different, and maybe that I was part of something else, and then got redacted to what we see here.
When it is time for the meeting, you must not waver. Do not offer aid as a king should not. The country obeys the king and not the other way around. That is the end of chapter 10.
That is a contradiction.
That is an awful recommendation.
Do not offer aid, but the country obeys the king. So
What he's saying is the king should not help his country. The country should help him.
But he should also tell them what to do. So that's what it says right after. They should obey the king. So he should tell them what to do,
the
but
country
not
obeys the
offer
king
aid.
and not the other way around. You do not offer aid. So, is that... First of all, a king should offer aid to his fucking country.
Yeah,
Second,
what he's there for.
Is his brother just telling him to just say fuck it, don't help, don't...
Like, why even call
Is he
the
just
meeting?
saying let the demons win?
Why even call the meeting? Just call off the meeting. You don't want to help the country. Call off the meeting, and you don't look weak because apparently it makes you look weak.
Yeah. That's fucking awful. This is awful godly advice.
Yeah, there it was finally. The advice.
Alright, and we have our fourth and final one. It's a little bit long for this instance, but we're going to need it. Chapter 11 is only about a page long, so it shouldn't last very long at all.
All right.
Chapter 11, The Maid and the Lord. We are focusing on Alegord again. So we are having to presume that this takes place after he returned to the castle whose lord wanted to assassinate him.
That's right. Or maybe in the village where he's supposed to get provisions. Let's see.
He had in sight a bird that perched itself on the side of the great tower.
Oh, back at the castle.
The bird seemed strange, unrecognizable to him. It wasn't a raven or an eagle, nothing that he had ever seen in his life before. It was golden, the color of the gods, he thought, and its feathers almost seemed majestic. It took up high into the sky, soaring around the castle. It appears to be as if the bird was surveying the castle as a watcher. However, it fled north as quickly as Henry arrived right behind him.
Was it a demon, maybe? Is that a demon
Well,
bird?
we don't know. It's just a literal gold bird that's flying around, surveying the area, and then leaving.
Oh.
That can't be foreshadowing or referencing that it's a non-normal creature.
Yeah, just a gold bird. He's looking up. What is that bird? That's strange.
It seemed as if almost bitterness swept into his face as he approached him. He walks in snuggled as we can be.
Who's he approaching?
Henry is approaching Alegord.
It does. Okay, there it is. Okay, yeah. Henry arrived. Okay, I see that.
Lord, you look well, Alegord uttered. spelled like... why is it a capital?
Must be no. I'm not even going to continue.
Smartass, he snarked. All young men seem to be lacking in manners. It's as if they're born without any, or perhaps their mothers weren't taught well themselves.
Or perhaps the person in charge tried to kill them.
My mother, Alegord said abashedly. Henry rudely interrupts Alegord and proceeds to state, Your mother? He said callously. Is it Lady Gallat, or perhaps the wench of a lady who snuck into her master's bed and purposefully seduced him under oath of the house, knowing of his already intimate relationship with Lady Gallat? My mother only did what she thought was best.
It wasn't best.
Best? Do tell me what was best. Trying to ruin a scarred family? Or perhaps bringing damnation to her own village? Henry said knowingly.
What? Her village got damned?
I guess.
Maybe in God's eyes, but a whole village? All right.
She was young, foolish. Aren't we all when we're that age? Am I insane? Sorry, not to suddenly pause on this. On your guys' stream of this, are the W's thinner than every other letter?
They look to be, yeah.
Yeah.
That is fucking with my head.
How does that happen?
They're thinner. The lines... with font, the lines are the same thickness. How is that possible? How has this story corrupted the font?
Unique. It's very unique.
She was young, foolish, aren't we all when we're that age, Alegord said, reconciling with his past. So did he sneak into, like, a noble woman's house and fuck her brains out? Why is he reconciling with his past, talking about, like, trying to dismiss the actions of his mother? How do you reckon?
I don't see that as reconciliation. I'm not sure.
Galahad is not. He does not make mistakes. At last, the women try to lay ruin to his name as many tried to their lords beforehand. So he did what any wise man would do, stop the chaos before it spread.
But Askeladd's just going all willy-nilly.
You mean kill the woman who was in love with him, Alegord snickered
What?
back.
She wasn't. She wanted to use him.
Love? Do you mean utilize his assets?
Yeah, Henry.
His wealth by laying claim to his bloodline? She tried to tarnish everything he had, worked so hard to build. Henry insured back.
It's a little drink.
I think you're mistaken. A noble lord once accepted a crazed woman as a maid, who he assumed to be clear-minded. She tempted him with lust, offering her body open to him. Eventually, he let into the temptation. However, soon she became harsher and threatening, as she had his seed inside her to grow. However, he didn't let into her threats. In fact, he sought to rectify his mistakes by removing her altogether. She fled to not be seen until 16 years later, where he met you. For some strange reason, he let you live.
So he was 16? Alegord is 16 now? It was 18 before.
Actually, wait, yeah, he was
Yeah.
18 when he became a squire, but also he was 16 when his mother was killed, and he got taken in by Galahad, which means he has been in the family house for fucking 9 years. And only then did he decide to have his bastard son fuck off to a castle? Why?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he went through that squire stuff before he even met Galahad, didn't he?
Well, he met Galahad and he became his squire.
Was that how it happened?
And then he became a knight and a knight commander.
I think that.
And then when he came back home, that's when Galahad murdered his mother.
Well,
But also, yeah,
that doesn't add up.
it does not.
Unless she was just hanging out there for all that time.
Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, it's a little wild. A little wild and wacky.
That is the entirety of chapter 11.
So how does Henry know the whole history?
Oh, fuck only knows.
Well, I wouldn't expect anything less from a man who sleeps standing up.
Next time, we have the biggin. The climax that came out of fucking nowhere. But it's important to note, gluttony, glutony, or glutony.
Ah, there's the glutony.
It begins there.
Right underneath the other one, which is spelled correctly.
So next time we're going to be enjoying the greatest battle ever written down. The most advanced strategy ever devised. We learn about the true capability of the soldiers at this fortress. We discover just how powerful Alegord really is.
Oh.
And we discover the value of gates.
They are pretty valuable, I'll tell you that. You want stuff kept out? Put up a gate.